And welcome back to Spotlight as we turn our attention to science, engineering, technology, and math. And the man who knows an awful lot about it, Shawn Wilson. He's with the Ford Motor Company Fund, and we appreciate you coming in the Spotlight today.
Appreciate you having me.
October of last year, Ford decided that they wanted to put a lot of money, a lot of attention, and a lot of hard work into STEM. Why?
The Ford Motor Company Fund really has been investing in STEM for decades. So it's been a core piece of what we do as a company, and then through the philanthropic arm, which is known as the Ford Fund. But we also
you took
saw
it to another level.
Absolutely. We also saw that there was an opportunity to really engage a younger group. So instead of waiting until they were in college, research shows that if you don't grab students' interest when they're in middle school, you're going to have a tough time getting their focus in high school. And so we launched an initiative called the Ford STEAM Lab, and the goal is to really spark students' interest in tech entrepreneurship. But also traditional STEM careers. And there's a couple reasons behind that. One, research shows that by the year 2022, we're gonna have about 1 million STEM-related jobs and no one to fill them. So that's a pretty big gap. That's going to face not only companies like Ford Motor Company, but the industry as a whole. And so the first step is to get them interested. And so by introducing STEAM, which adds the arts into the STEM, we can really grab their attention. And so and focus the STEM components more on the creative components that arts brings.
Sure. Some of the literature that I've read about this, you make that correlation between Silicon Valley and Detroit. Do you see Detroit as the next Silicon Valley or surpassing Silicon Valley at some point?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of opportunities. We know that the tech industry, that Detroit is one of the fastest growing tech industries in the country. We know that the industrial, old school kind of industrial sector is kind of transforming to this high-tech manufacturing.
And it's always been a big market for engineers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we know that this is going to be a hotbed. More and more tech industries are moving in. And I think it's going to be important to not have to import the talent, but to kind of homegrown that talent here. And so starting in as early as middle school and introducing kids to careers in STEAM and technology is going to be really important.
Traditionally, is this a field in which African Americans and minorities of other types are involved in or have been involved in, or is there a lack of them being involved in this and we've got to turn those numbers up?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a lot more of that. A lot more diversity in the tech industries and the STEM industries, but not nearly enough. And I think we have opportunity to show our students who may be in underserved communities that this is a way out. Learning how to code, learning how to develop apps, really focusing on that tech entrepreneurship piece, that's a way out. That's a way to break that poverty cycle. But we started here because, once again, in Detroit, we have a lot of organizations that's already doing this work, Grand Circus, Sister Code, but it was also an opportunity to bring in some organizations like Yes We Code and the Level Playing Field Institute. Those organizations have been doing this work for, especially Level Playing Field Institute, they've been doing this work for a decade plus. Van Jones and Yes We Code, they're really lighting this up. They're bringing tremendous awareness to the importance of diversifying the technology industry.
You got Big Shawn in this?
We got Big Shawn. Shawn's going to speak to the students about how technology has really changed the game in music, from downloading to, it's really been amazing to see social media, how they're engaging their fan base. So technology is such a big part of any industry, whether it's music, automotive, across the sector, and that's what we're trying to hone in on the kids, that if you want to be successful in the future, it's like read, write, code.
Hackathon.
Yes.
What is hackathon?
So hackathon, we wanted to, once again, part of the Ford STEAM Lab's goal is to really promote and spark students' interest in tech entrepreneurship. And so that means empowering them to create their own technology, their own apps. And that starts with, as you know, all great inventions or ideas start with a problem, right? And so the hackathon brings students together, help them address an issue, and then ask them to come up with solutions via technology, right? And so that's right. So they're hacking an issue. And so in this case, we really wanted to engage the students around something that they're experts in, that they know a lot about, that they live in, day out. So education. As we all know, that's a hot topic here in Michigan right now.
Absolutely.
We all understand, we have to address long-term educational goals. And there's opportunity here to actually bring in the student voice. I was sharing with someone, as car companies and different manufacturers try to build new products, they ask their customers what they want. And I think it's an opportunity for us to ask students, what do you want to see in education? What do you want to see in that long term? Doing this kind of work is like planting a seed. You never know what you're going to get when it comes up, right? But it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be productive, right? And I've been doing this work for 20 years, so now, I have students who went through different programs I was in charge of who are, running their own companies, and it's amazing to see that. And so I think there's a double, triple bottom line that organizations benefit from doing this work. One, you're helping to empower the community to take charge of their own future. You're empowering students to take charge of their educational future. You're empowering them to let their voice be heard, and I think that's powerful, because once they understand that they're in a position of power and that they control their destiny, that's when everything else comes in. Our job is just to expose them to it, to these opportunities,
and give them the support,
and give them the support and the resources.
Sometimes it means scholarships, it means other things for those who may not have the financial wherewithal.
That's right, and Ford Motor Company does a great job of that, from exposing them to them, to investing $8 million plus every year in scholarships, to the internships, the apprenticeships, and then obviously the employment. So there is a pipeline that we're able to all benefit from doing this work.
The hackathon is March 27th and March 28th?
March 27th, 28th at the Ford Resource and Engagement Center. 100 of the brightest students from DPS and Metro Detroit are going to come to compete for $30,000 in prizes. So the winning school, the winning team, gets $15,000 to their school.
I'm too old to get in this.
You can't join this one. You can't join this one. That's right. And the students get $2,500 in scholarships for their college education.
Right, great. And I realize you might have the 100 already, but will you do this annually?
We'll be doing this biannually.
Somebody may not be able to get into this hackathon. They
Absolutely.
might be able to get into the very next
Absolutely.
one.
So we'll be doing this a couple times a year, but we're also sponsoring, STEM camps and coding camps and things of that nature. So it's a commitment on behalf of Ford Motor Company Fund.
All right, final question. Bertie tells me that you're also tying this theme into the Ford Freedom Award this year, which is May 5th, I believe.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we're excited to recognize Laura Weedman with Code 2040 doing some amazing work. Also Mitch Kapor, the guy, one of the early investors in Uber and developer of Lotus 1, 2, and 3. So we're really gonna continue to kind of tie this theme of tech entrepreneurship throughout 2015.
And we know that that's part of your baby now, so you get to worry about that as well. And best of luck with it. Once again, the hackathon is March 27th and March 28th. And if you're interested in getting involved in all the things that Shawn talked about, we'll get the information on the screen and you can follow up with them. Shawn, thank you so much for coming in.
Chuck.
It's always a pleasure sitting
Thank
down
you.
talking with you. And when Spotlight returns, we'll preview a historic Detroit anniversary with Joanne Mondowney. We'll be right back.